Steve Bowers welcoming you to Dialogue here at EPlusTV 6 and a conversation with Rochelle Stevens. She was an Olympic athlete, a gold medal winner in 1996 in Atlanta, and prior to that, a silver medal winner in 1992 in Barcelona. That's just the beginning. USA Track and Field National Indoor Champion and 2 times, National Outdoor Championship 2 times, USA Olympic Trials 400 meet champion, and just how many Halls of Fame? 6?
6.
6 Halls of Fame. And you start out, of course, in high school, TSSAA, high school state champion 5 times. It's just a distinguished career. Travel the World by Foot is the name of her new book, and she'll be talking about that and more. It's a real pleasure. It's a real pleasure to have you in Jackson.
Thank you so much. I'm glad to be here.
Good to see you. One of the reasons that Rochelle is here, and of course we do this in a non-time sensitive way, but for over a quarter century, she's been hosting a special track event in Memphis, Tennessee, in Shelby County, and it continues. And you do it every year. And so people have young athletes. It's a great showcase opportunity for them. So tell us about this.
It is the Rochelle Stevens Invitational Track Meet. This year it would be 26 years. We target all ages from the age of 2 years old up to 75. Oh. And so,
hey, I can get in. It's not too late.
It's not too late. It's never too late, especially your age, right? Okay. You're young enough and you still have time. But the meet, we bring in college coaches to scout from this area. And like I was telling you earlier, sometimes our athletes are normally spotted too late, or they would have missed out on the opportunity to get a scholarship. Because a lot of the college coaches, they do attend age group meets and AAU meets and invitational meets like my meet. So we deliberately have college coaches, scouts, and recruiters to come and recruit from this area. And we have athletes to come from East and West Tennessee. We have a team out of Jackson that comes every year to run. The West Tennessee elite team comes and compete. So it's an exciting meet. We have sprints, middle distance, the 1 mile, the 1,500 meter run, and then of course field events that we host at this meet every year.
Obviously, if you make it all the way to the Olympics and then you win the Olympics, getting on the Olympic team is one thing, winning is something else. That's a step-by-step process, okay? And I take it from you that these coaches now are looking at athletes younger and younger and younger to try to, I guess, see what talent is out there, right?
That is so true. Sometimes when you start younger, you have a big advantage. You have an edge over some of the late bloomers because you understand the hard work, the dedication, the commitment. You have more of a race strategy in place. Whether you play basketball, baseball, football, run track, sometimes the younger you start, you have that inner secret, that edge. Okay. But then you have some that are late bloomers that say, hey, I think I want to run track, and they'll come on out there and blow you right on off the track like you haven't been out there. So it depends on the individual, and you know, within my book, I write about the different strategies and mental training that goes along with being one of the best athletes in the world, and how to properly train, and you have to make adjustments to be one of the best athletes that you can possibly be.
When could a coach that's looking to recruit talent, when could they start assessing someone in a real serious way? At what age would that start happening?
Well, if I was a coach, I would start recruiting closer to high school, because sometimes you have children that start out young and they may be great, but their focus might change. They might decide to say, you know what, I don't want to do all this hard work anymore, or I don't want to miss any of these donuts or cookies, or I'm tired of going to bed early, and they may quit. If you start making it past high school, that means you're taking it a little bit more serious, and those are the ones that you can really develop. But when you start young, that's great, but I've seen a lot of young ones that was, you know, kind of drop off on the side because the commitment is there, and it's something that you really have to want.
Rochelle Stevens is with us. She's a 2-time Olympic champion, a silver medalist in '92, gold medalist in '96. And her book is Travel the World by Foot. We want to talk about the book, but also just setting the stage for this event that she does every year. And then in your life, you started running then when or how? Because you're raised in Memphis, right?
Right. I started racing in the streets, you know, light pole to light pole when I was 11, and outrunning everybody on the playgrounds, including the boys. So kind of got the reputation of
explain that to me. Why would you start racing light pole to light pole? I mean,
well, it was called street racing. It's called street racing.
Okay.
And so you say, hey, I can beat you to this light pole, and everybody line up in staggers, and and someone starts the race, and you sprint to the end, and you celebrate, and you come back, and they say, oh, let's do that again. And so that just kind of kept going on, and athletes.
So you were good at it.
good at racing. I was a good street racer.
Okay.
And so other kids will hear about it, and you go to their neighborhood and you race their best kid from light pole to light pole. And, and so it all got started that way. And I saw the Wilma Rudolph story on television. I was like, wow, I want to be like Wilma. And so that really added to the fire. I was like, hey, this is what she did and this is what she had to do. So I took some of the same measurements.
Okay, wow. So who's another Tennessean? So inspired you.
Yeah.
All right, so when then did you actually get on a track, and how did that happen?
I told my mom that I wanted to go to the Olympics, and my mom was a track star. I was 12. And my mother was a track star at a school in Fayette County, Barris Chapel.
Okay.
And she knew the hard work that goes along with it. So she actually went out there and raced me. She said, let me see what you have. And my mom blew me out immediately. And then she said, well, if you just, you know, do this, you can run a little bit faster. And I immediately started taking tips from my mom, and she found a track club in Memphis and enrolled me in an AAU Junior Olympic team called Memphis Recreations. The first year out there, at the age of 12, I did qualify to go to the Nationals. I finished 4th in my age group. In the 800 meters, I ran 2 minutes and 24 seconds when I was 14. And from my understanding, the high school girls was barely running 2:25. And so I was only 13 running in the 13, 14-year-old age group. And so college coaches, from my understanding, were, you know, looking at me then.
At 12?
At 12, but they were not allowed to say anything. So they kind of just keep up with you to see what you're doing, see if you're going to come the next year to the Junior Olympics. And that's how I got started, because from that I earned 20 full scholarships in track and field.
Where did you run track in high school?
I ran track for Melrose High.
Okay.
And we won the state championship as a team my junior and senior year, but I won the Open 400, the Open 200, 4x400 meter relay, and we was at the state every year. So I had some good TSSAA experiences in Nashville.
Good coaches, I take it then, other than your mom?
My coach was like he was like a military man. He was very hardcore, and he was very challenging, and every day he was ask us, who's got guts, who's got guts? So we was like, what is he talking about, who's got guts? And
sir, this is not football.
This guts was to see who had the guts to win, who has heart. And I wrote about him in my book, about the intensity in the training level. And I believe because of him, I was able to take on the rest of the world from his mental training, per se, not knowing that it was going to, you know, translate later on in my life. But Coach Webb at Melrose was an exceptional coach for me, especially mentally. I think we was more scared of him than scared of the track.
Well, I'm going to pick up this conversation. Yeah, we're going to pick up this conversation because I want to find out more about, you know, when you make that realization. Rochelle Stevens is with us. She is an Olympic gold medalist. She is in Jackson, Tennessee. She's an outstanding person. Traveled the World by Foot is the name of her book. And this is Dialogue at EPlusTV 6. Welcome back to Dialogue at EPlusTV 6. We're talking with Rochelle Stevens. Her book is called Travel the World by Foot. She won the silver medal in the Olympics in 1992, part of a relay in 1992 in Barcelona, Spain. They came back in the 4x400 relay and won the gold medal in 1996 in Atlanta. She is an outstanding track and field performer and continues that work with a camp every year, a track meet every year that gives young people, well, people from ages, she says, 2 to 75. She has yet to invite me, but I'm sure that'll change one of these days. And she does this every year as an opportunity for them to compete and also to showcase before track and field coaches from across the country. And looking back at that now, because it's extraordinary, did you know that this was an unusual gift or that you had something that was very, very unique?
No, I didn't look at it as a gift at that time.
What we do, and our parents are our parents. Oh, yeah, my mom was a track and field star. Yeah, okay, so I guess they all are, right?
Right, and you know, you racing children. But my mom, she was like, you know what, if you can beat everybody on the street, that's nice. Now you need to beat everybody in your neighborhood, then you beat everybody in the city, then you have to beat everybody in the state. And it just kept going on, and I was like, wow, she really knew what she was talking about, because eventually you have to now beat everyone in the world. And so when I went to the Olympics, it was like you looking at, you probably was the best kid in Germany, or you was the best kid in Russia, and I was the best in Orange Mound in Memphis. And now we all are out here on the track, and we're going for the same thing, the gold.
Okay. And getting to the Olympics, and you talk about it, because you went to the University of Maryland. You were recruited by
Morgan State University.
Morgan State University in Maryland, Baltimore. All right. You were recruited by 20-something, right? Wanted to be a Vol.
Right.
Yeah. We'll try not to hold that against her since she's from Memphis, but wanted to be a Vol.
But Memphis didn't have a track team.
Okay. Wanted to be a Vol, and they had a good program and a great coach at that time. But the coach went to Texas, right, or something?
Right, at the University.
But when you went to Baltimore, then I mean, they had great athletes there, right? But
right.
You said they didn't have.
Well,
there were no planes and Learjets or any of that other stuff.
Morgan State, HBCU school in Baltimore, Maryland. They didn't have the facilities. They didn't have the money. Didn't have the chartered buses and all that glamorous stuff. But they had athletes and they had an excellent coach.
Okay.
And the coach knew exactly how to get to me. He just asked a few questions like, are you flying the track meets now and winning? And I was like, no, sir, I'm riding the bus. He said, it won't change when you get to Morgan. Are you eating greens and cornbread now? And I was like, it won't change if you come to Morgan. So I was like, okay, I'm accustomed to those things. And I didn't want to, make a whole lot of changes. And I was like, I'm winning now, so rather I fly or drive or sit on the bus, I do plan on winning, but that's
Did you ever doubt in any of this? Or was it always?
At some time you may doubt, especially when they have the doping stuff going on. You had athletes that cheat, and they kind of, damper the style, but you have to have strong-minded people around you as well. My mom and my coaches were very good with getting me mentally prepared for my races. And just, believing in yourself. You have to remind yourself, hey, I am the best, I am great, I am good, and I'm coming to kick your butt today. It's either you get me or I'm going to get you. And, back in the day, they say, kick butt and take names. And I actually used to believe that. And it didn't help for my teammates. We used to sing a little song at Morgan, and we'll say, and when I'm running down the track, you're going to be looking at my back. And we're going to say, ooh, who was that? Oh, see, that right there was just motivation in itself because we didn't want to be the victim to our own words, and we were just motivated to run extra fast.
Being best in NCAA or being the best in college or whatever is one thing. Getting to the Olympics and being the best there,
it's all
so how did that happen?
work. Like you said, NCs, I won the NCAA Division I title in 1988, and I didn't know anything about ranking. I didn't know I was ranked in the top 5 to make the U.S. team, and at that time they were taking the top 8. And my coach, we were so excited about just going to the Olympic trials. We overtrained. We overtrained, and so a lot of things happened that I wasn't aware of. It was maybe his first time supposed to make the Olympic team, and it was definitely my first time going to a trial. And it was a learning experience, and I missed the Olympic team in '88 by a blink of an eye. I mean, just a blink. I thought I made the team. We were celebrating. An hour later, we didn't know people was protesting, and they came back and said, due to a photo finish, I was eliminated. And so it was a heartbreak. It was humiliating. It was embarrassing. And I wrote a lot of that about how I felt in my book, the humiliation that I experienced personally, because you feel like you let your family down, your friends, your neighbors. And technically, they was all happy that I was just able to compete at that level, but you don't realize it at that time, and you just feel like you just let the whole world down. And so being able to bounce back and come back 4 years later and become the U.S. Olympic champion.
Why did you keep doing it?
Well,
because you could have quit in '88, said okay.
Well, I did quit, and I went sat on the couch and pout and licked my wounds for about 6 months, and my mom kept staying on me about that dream, and she was like, I know you're not giving up, and I could have cared less because I didn't know that you can keep running. And fortunately, I made a call to an agent, and he was like, hey, I can make you a lot of money if you still want to run. And I was like, money? How much? And I just dropped the phone, and the rest was history after that.
So you've had people that enter your life then at key junctures.
Right. The timing was just perfect for it because, like I said, I thought athletes was running for tote bags and water bottles, and that's what I was winning. I didn't realize that they were actually making money, and now athletes are on big contracts, and I was part of the generation with Carl Lewis, Flo Jo, Jackie Joyner Kersee, Gail Devers, Gwen Torrance, and other great athletes. And we were the first ones to kind of break in and get those contracts. Michael Johnson, I became the Maybelline girl. And so while my competitors was fighting over shoe contracts, I was signing cosmetic contracts. You know, it's like, hey, I want to, do something completely different. And so I ended up representing Maybelline and Oakley sunshades, and that was a conflict of interest because Maybelline couldn't see the mascara and Oakley wanted to see their sunshades, and I was like, whoa, I created a monster here. But it was exciting. I eventually ended up representing over 35 Fortune 500 companies, and I was my own agent, so I was able to cut out the middleman when it came down to publicizing and promoting myself.
So you learned that business then through experience?
Well, my degree from Morgan is in telecommunications and sales. And I just used my writing abilities from college and marketing classes that I had taken and presented it to different companies. And they bought it, and with the performances going with it, it made it even easier.
In balancing that, and you still have to perform on the track.
Right.
Right, okay. And I can see how sometimes that would be a challenge, right?
Well, you have a lot of time, especially when you're traveling around the world, as I have did. It's no cable, no internet. It was no all this nice technology stuff we have going on. It was nothing to do but go to a track meet. I mean, we race on a Monday, Wednesday, Thursday night in Europe in front of 50, 60,000 people. I used to be like, wow, is this a Alabama football game or something?
Yeah,
but it was not. It was a track meet. And so track and field.
So it's street post to street post, just with a big crowd.
Yeah, that's right. And track and field is ranked #2 to soccer in Europe. Every meet is on Eurosport, kind of like we watch the games with the basketball. And everyone all over Europe is able to watch you race every other night. And so I was like, hey, this is not too bad. But on the downtime, I was able to write proposals and sit and think how I was going to brand myself.
Rochelle Stevens is with us. She's track and field athlete extraordinaire. Travel the world by foot. We'll talk about this book next as we continue. This is Dialogue at EPlusTV. Welcome back to Dialogue at EPlusTV 6 and a conversation with Rochelle Stevens. Olympic gold medalist 1996 in Atlanta, silver medalist in 1992 in Barcelona. She is from Memphis, Shelby County, Tennessee. And I hope you can catch this if you're just joining us on a replay. A lot of ground we have covered. But we want to talk now about Travel the World by Foot. What's the reason for writing the book?
The reason for writing the book is I hope to inspire younger athletes, inspiring athletes, children to young adults about preparation for life, preparation for becoming a great athlete or business person. I hope to touch, them in a different way. When I was coming up, we was always saying, if we can just get to some of these celebrities or icons that we watch and ask them, what were your secrets? What made you great? What kind of workouts did you do? And of course, we didn't never meet any of those people. And so with me being here and still alive, I just thought that it would be very helpful to be able to have hands-on experience and read about my struggles, my challenges, the perceptions that I had to deal with, changing my lifestyle around, such as eating the right foods, getting enough sleep, how to mentally prepare for a race. And I put all of those different nuggets in the book. And growing up as a kid watching The Price is Right, and saying, hey, I wish I can go to England or to Hawaii or some of those places, not knowing that my track career would end up taking me around the world. And so it's a great book. It's an inspirational read for all ages.
There is a challenge for athletes, and I know, and you're working with young people. It's like not everybody can go to the NBA. Not everybody can make the NFL. Not everybody can do this. We have all these youngsters out here doing all these things. And so what can people draw from this? Not everybody's going to be an Olympic. There can't be but one Olympic gold medalist, right? Can't be but one, or a team of 4 or whatever. And so that's that thing for the rest of us that are not so gifted or talented or whatever. So what do you do and say?
Well, with that, you can have people that's very talented, But if they're not mentally prepared, they would still miss out. Or if they make bad choices, they can miss out. If you get injured, you can miss out. And so sometimes just knowing some of the nuggets of what other athletes did to become successful, you can institute that into your training regimen or your eating regimen or some of the different things that we had to do to become great. You have to know in the back of your mind that, hey, I'm going to be great. And you,
whatever.
You got to just know it. And I patterned myself after a lot of different athletes, like Carl Lewis. He was, you know, had this confidence about himself. And whenever I watched the tapes, I was like, wow, I want to be like Carl Lewis. And I would look at Steve Lewis, who ran my event, and he had all this speed and tenacity. And so I would find different athletes that I really enjoyed watching, and I would just put their video in and just keep watching it over and over and say, hey, I want to be like that or better.
So you were mentally patterning all of this?
You have to mentally pattern. And they always say it's 80% mental and 20% physical.
Is that right? Is that,
and
do you
I
find
truly
that to be?
believe that is so, because like I said, you can be in shape, but if you don't have your mindset right, you will get beat every single time.
You said that you overtrained in '88. What does that mean?
I was a speed type of runner, and my coach was like, if we can just get you a little bit stronger so you can finish up your race, you'll be even better at the trials. So he took me back to a base training that you normally do in the fall, and it destroyed all of my fast twitch muscles. It just slowed it all the way down. And so when I got to the Olympic trials, the speed that I had, I was slower and stronger, and I didn't need that. And what was winning for me was to take it out like a gazelle and just gut it out. But now you're just a slow gazelle with all of this strength and no gears to shift. And sometimes you look at some of these athletes, and their coaches just don't have a clue. If you're still pulling parachutes and sleds, and you're doing this stuff in April, May, and June, in the middle of your season when your athlete is supposed to be peaking, they will never, ever, ever,
is that right?
ever run fast, because you break the body down.
So you said it was the coach's inexperience, well-intentioned, but an inexperience there. Okay.
Right. So my book is it's a good read.
So you had to adjust.
You had to make the adjustments. We knew 4 years later.
But you nearly stopped, right? I mean, there were those months that it could have ended right there.
It could have ended, but after I did make that Olympic team, I had my head down in embarrassment and disgust and just didn't want to come out. I didn't want to run. I didn't want to do anything. But when I did finally come back out, we knew not to go back to that workout. And it's like now when I see different athletes, if it's like the state meet like May, and your coach have you running stadiums or have you pulling sleds or pulling tires, you're not going to win. You're getting strong, but you get strong on the off season. It's a time for everything.
You said this was a photo finish.
Photo finish, a blink of an eye.
That you didn't make the Olympic team.
Right.
Which would have been, what, hundredths or thousandths of a second, right?
It was a blink. That's enough.
Wow.
Just a blink. There's like, up, you're off the team.
I know drag races at times, and it was amazing. A thousandth of a second was the difference sometimes between winning and losing. Right? Like, are you kidding me?
And it's really true.
But it is true. So your message then to young people is?
My message is, don't give up on your dream. Dream big. If it's something that's just way out there and it seems impossible, then that's the dream that you want to go after.
Is all right. Okay.
Because you can really appreciate it. You have to put in the time, the hours, the commitment. You have to be able to say no to a lot of things that your friends are saying yes to. And you eventually get a chance to get around to that. I thought I was missing things on 4th of July, and I thought I was missing all the good cake and ice cream and cookies and all of that good stuff. At that time, it seems like it, but now that I'm retired, it's like, oh, wow, is this all you all been doing? I mean, gee, I thought I was missing something. So it feels like you're giving up things, but at the end, if you can come back home with a gold medal or NBA ring or an NFL Super Bowl ring, or if you can, even if you just make the team, that's a big accomplishment, and that's an accomplishment that's worth being proud of, because you put in the time to practice. And, you know, we said practice makes perfect, and you can't do it without practice and perfection and prayer.
Okay, it's all there. You talked about being in Europe, and it's a big sport there, just like soccer is. It's odd that we've got, because we have premier track and field athletes here, but it's not the same notoriety, perhaps, as you got over there. So that's an interesting thing. So it varies all over the world. Yeah.
Hey, I end up loving Europe. I mean,
Okay.
The first time I went,
What keeps you in Shelby County, Tennessee, then, other than your mother, right?
well, like people said, there's no place like home. I mean,
right.
it's a little behind time, but it's still no place like home. I have literally.
It's like us in Jackson. We're here. We like it here.
You get comfortable, and,
Yeah.
and you have
It
to
is
learn to
home.
make the adjustments. And traveling all over the world, I have literally been able to see from some of the richest countries like Monte Carlo, France, to Paris, to some of the poorest countries, third world countries, and you're like, wow, the U.S. really does have it going on. And even people that live in the projects here in the U.S. is still like a mansion to people that live in third world countries that's sleeping in cardboard boxes and sleeping under a tree.
Okay.
They look at us like we're just millionaires, the whole country.
Yeah.
And you won't really realize those type of things until you actually
Get
leave.
out there. So you have, all right. Travel the world by foot. It's the way she's done it, Rochelle Stevens. So check this out. Best way to get this?
RochelleStevensFoundation.com.
RochelleStevensFoundation.com, and it's ROCHELLE, RochelleStevensFoundation.com. A real pleasure to have you in Jackson.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for being with us. And thank you for being with us. And stay with us here at EPlusTV 6. This is the place where the dialogue continues.